Hello, I'm PJ Bishop, and welcome to my channel in the ongoing series with the Oakland A's. We just completed the draft. The Arizona Complex playoffs is currently on to the championship series. So I figured I'll do a mid-season review of the top prospects under the age of 25 before I add the new guys and things get re-ranked and players get moved around with the promotions and demotions because of the complex league coming to an end. So let's take a look at our current top pitching prospects under the age of 25. Starting with our current best one, although that's going to change because I just did the draft, but the draft will be its own video. So in order to not be redundant with this video and the draft prospects, I'm going to separate them. So we're going to start with relief pitcher Steven Ichirara, 18 years old, currently in the Arizona Complex. Still projected to have plus stuff, average movement, and above average control. Even though he's been, I think, strictly used as a reliever, he still is in line to be a potential starter down the road because I think he's got a good enough pitch mix, good enough stamina, and of course, good enough control. But as you can see, he's done really well in the complex league. He's got a 3.63 ERA. He's appeared in 19 games, pitched 17.1 innings, has 14 saves, so it looks like he was used as the closer. And he's got a really high strikeout rate, 13.5 per 9. Walks were okay-ish at 3-1, and then did give up 1 home run per 9. But overall, he looks really nice. And looks like he did have an appearance in the playoff game. Pitched 2 innings, gave up 1 hit, 1 walk, struck out 3, and earned a 2-inning save in a playoff game. So he's done pretty well considering that he is last year's third-round pick out of high school, so he's a fairly young kid, but he's got plenty of potential, and I think he still is in line to eventually earn a starting position role. But currently he is working out of the bullpen. On to our next guy is starting pitcher Gunnar Hoagland. He is currently at high A, 24 years old. If anything, he's starting for high A, but I don't see him as a starter for me down the road. He will definitely work out of the bullpen as a fireman with his control. It's somebody that can trust to come in with a bases loaded situation and not walk anybody. He's done a solid. He's been solid in 15 starts with a 3.53 ERA and 81.2 innings. The whip looks good. The home run rate's a little high, but his movement is only at 50, so it's kind of expected. Doesn't walk anyone. As you can see, his walk rate is 1.9. And actually does a pretty decent job of strikeouts, 9.4 per 9. Now, he's doing well, and there's no reason why I don't think he will earn himself a promotion fairly soon to Double A. You can see here he was nice. Drafted by Pittsburgh in the first round. And then drafted by Toronto in the first round. So twice he was picked in the first round. Apparently he didn't want to go to Pittsburgh. Looks like we ended up getting him in a trade. This is before my time. Toronto Jays with Zach Lowe, Kirby Snead, and Kevin Smith is for Matt Chapman. Oh, that's a pretty decent trade for them. Interesting. But I think he's a solid guy. Does have some future out of the bullpen. Next on my list is closer Grant Holman. He's currently injured. He's got a sore elbow, but he's all right. He's currently in Double A. Nothing jumps out. His control is good. I think he's definitely. I mean, he's obviously a bullpen option. Someone that's probably going to end up being a bottom option and ends up being more of a mop-up guy than anything else. He's currently struggling in Double A. I wouldn't say struggling, but 4.71 is nothing to brag about. More than likely, he will repeat this level, as I have no interest in promoting him. Even though his overall does suggest he can handle AAA, I just don't think he's not performing good enough for me to move him up. And who knows, maybe in a year or two he drops out of the rankings completely, or at least my rankings. Up next is Eric Matos. He's in 17-year-old Cuban in a Dominican Summer League. His stuff is absolutely lights out, nearly elite with average movement, below average control. More than likely, I will have him working out of the bullpen. I think he's someone that can be a really good closer, if not setup man. Someone that I can trust in high leverage situations. He is struggling with a 5.11 ERA. He's only played 12 innings, so not a lot of data on him. Being so young, I think he might have started. I think he was 17 when he started, so he'll be repeating the summer league again next year. Just not quite developing, but has the potential to be good. He's somebody to keep an eye on, especially with this elite level stuff. Now he's only 17. That could change over the years, but as of now, it's looking good. Up next is Cole Miller, starting pitcher Cole Miller, currently at the Arizona complex, but he's been out with Tommy John. In fact, he didn't even get to play a single. I think I inherited him injured already. Still on pace to be a solid starter, I think, down the road. Somebody that can slot in at number 5 and hope that he brings some success. But he's going to have to wait till next year to get his season going. I think he should be healthy enough by next year. Would hate for him to miss 2 seasons in a row. What was he? Was he a 4th-round pick last year? So someone that's patiently waiting for his debut. Next on the list is relief pitcher Dennis Correa, out of 24-year-old out of Colombia, currently in Double A. Above average stuff, above average movement, just terrible control. But he's holding his own at Double A this year with a 3.07 ERA, 19 games, all out of relief. As you can see, his walks are his biggest issue, 7.4 per 9, which is driving up his whip. His strikeout rate's good at 11.7. Home run rate could be improved, but that walk rate is just really hurting him. But he is in line to probably earn a promotion to AAA. With him looking like he's fully developed, he would be just on the doorsteps of being called up to the majors. Who knows, could be even a possible call-up come September. Next on the list is relief pitcher Eric Gutierrez, 18-year-old Dominican, currently in Dominican Summer League. He's got plus stuff, average movement, below average control, 3 pitches that are at least above average or better. Borderline starter, will probably work better out of the bullpen, where he's currently listed right now. So we got him to trade from Miami. He struggled there with an 8.4 ERA in 15 games, but for us in the 1 appearance he's made, he's done pretty well. Did he strike out everybody he faced? 2 innings, 5 strikeouts. It's a pretty good game. Struck out everybody but 1 guy. Did walk 2. But looked pretty solid for us, so hopefully he can maintain that moving forward. If he can show enough in this last stretch for us, he can earn himself a promotion to the complex and come stateside next year. Up next is Jack Leiter, starting pitcher for AA Midland. He's currently on a cold streak, as you can see here. But he's got plus stuff, average movement. His control is going to be his issue, which is what's going to keep him in the bullpen for me till this can go up. I'm just not a huge fan of starting guys that don't have proper control. Now, we got him in a trade with Texas. He is somebody that I like, but he's more than likely going to be earning. I look at him as he's a Joe Boyle type, but a greater chance of earning a starting role if he can get that control going up. So we're hoping for some TCR to go his way. Because for for AAA, he really struggled. He's struggling for us. He was doing about roughly average before we got him. But for us, he's really struggling. So he's going to repeat this level for sure. Just not quite playing good enough to earn himself a promotion. Next guy on the list is Roybar Salinas. He is a 23-year-old Venezuelan, currently at high A, on a hot streak, as you can see here. He's got above average stuff, above average movement. The control is what's hurting him, because his pitching's, if you could just get rid of his changeup, he'll be even better. Because his pitches look nice. He's got 3+ pitches or better. 3+. But I guess he's holding his own. Currently in high A, he's got a stellar 3.19 ERA. He's actually a starter. Well, he is a starter, so he's got a really good ERA. So despite his walk rate being at a extremely high 6.5 per 9, he's still keeping the runs off the board. But I don't care how good the ERA is. Once you make it, to me, you're going to be a reliever. I think he'll be a solid reliever out of the bullpen. It's a middle option, because I think his stuff will go up a little bit more. So he'll be more of a middle option. Not someone that I would put in for high leverage, but someone that can come in for an inning or two and rack up some strikeouts. Up next on the list is relief pitcher Corey Avant, 22-year-old in the Arizona complex. Nothing spectacular about him. I like him because of his 2-pitch mix. This is why he is good enough. His control is what's going to keep him sidelined for the majority of his career. But he had a really good, it was an extremely small sample size, only 5 games. But the ERA is out of this world at 0.96. And he didn't really walk that many guys. It was a small sample size. He did struggle this is a playoff game against Seattle. He did struggle in his one outing. He allowed 4 hits, 7 earned runs on and 2 homers, so he did struggle big time. Although his next appearance, much better, 2.2 innings worth. Gave up just 1 hit, struck out 6 players, so I'd say he bounced back quite nicely. And next on the list is relief pitcher Jackson Finley at a low A California League. Low A Stockton. I think his season is done. He's got a torn meniscus out for 3 or 4 months. Average stuff, below average movement, below average control. What's keeping him alive is the fact that his individual pitch ratings are pretty high. I think it's his control of movement that's keeping him from being a better pitcher. I don't know if he'll ever make it up to the majors. He might sit around in AA and AAA his entire life, if he even gets it that high, because he's currently just at an average rate down here. He's utilized mostly as a starter this year, with a 4.29 ERA. If he's still age appropriate, or actually this is his only year, so he should still be eligible for low A. He'll be repeating this level, especially considering that he's out with a pretty nasty injury. So I like to see him perform better and get some more innings under his belt before we move on to the next level. Next on the list is Jefferson Dean, starting pitcher Jefferson Dean, 19-year-old Dominican, currently in the Dominican Summer League. Above average stuff, average movement, below average control, which is a lot of my guys. But the pitch mix looks nice. He's got projected 3+ pitches. His problem is his control. That's going to keep him down pretty much all his life, or his baseball career, unless that picks up. Although been real solid for us in the 5 starts, he's got a 1.69 ERA. As you can see, he is walking a ton, but he's striking out a ton, 13.8, and not giving up home runs. That's making him. That's an elite level ERA right there. That's definitely a promotion worthy. Come the end of the season, he'll be definitely coming stateside, where he'll try to continue his career. But if nothing changes, he's someone that's going to come out as a reliever. If ever gets called up, he might be a career AA, AAA pitcher until eventually I have to cut him. Next on the list is relief pitcher Eduardo Rivera. He's a 21-year-old Puerto Rican, currently at High A Lansing. Above average stuff, average movement. Control is extremely terrible. As you can see, his individual pitches aren't bad. It's just his control. And he is struggling here at High with a 5.68 ERA. So he will not be earning a promotion. He'll be repeating the level. And guys that repeat the level and are borderline 35 overall, stuff like that, are high risk to get cut. Eventually down the road, after many draft classes, guys like this are borderline. And they just take up a roster spot for somebody else, and they're going to eventually get cut. You got to progress. And lastly on the list is relief pitcher Oliver Cerrone. He is a 17-year-old Dominican, currently playing in the Summer League. He's got plus stuff, average movement. Again, control is terrible. Now his problem is he does not have a very good fastball. You see, very slow. But I do like his stuff. I think the curveball and the changeup bring his stuff up a little better. But he's in a small sample size. He is holding his own with a 3.68 ERA. Not walking a ton of guys, striking out a ton of them, 14.7 per nine. But again, it's a very small sample size. But if he remains this solid for the remainder of the year, I think he'll earn himself a promotion stateside. There's no guarantees he'll move on past that, and he'll be competing with a pretty good-looking draft class. So there's possibility he could be a casualty of the cuts. That's the tough decisions you got to make. And that's it for the pitching prospects. No one outstanding so far. I guess our best-looking guy is a reliever. That's Steven Echevarria, last year's 3rd-round pick. But he's someone that could potentially be a 4 or 5 starter for us. If, of course, 1, 2, and 3 are what I like to have, but it's very difficult to get that at Oakland. We just don't have the money to afford those kind of guys. But ideally, he's a 4 or 5. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we're going to go over the top batting prospects.